Well, greetings to whoever is going to view this. Today, we just want to come through to share this with you. Hope it's going to help you. We are going to look at quadratic equations. No. Pardon, it's supposed to be Q there. Quadratic equations. We're going to look at quadratic equations. Quadratic equations. Well, maybe you might be familiar with quadratic equations, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a simple question on quadratic equation and how you can solve it. I'm going to solve it for you. Then I'm going to put something else. Basically, I'm going to put equations, not expression. There's a difference between quadratic equation and quadratic expression, and today you're going to learn the difference as well. So let's just see, and also basically you're going to learn a quadratic equation which has no solution, and those with solutions. How can you tell that this quadratic equation has got a solution, or this quadratic equation doesn't have a solution? Okay, so all those things I'm gonna take you through today. I hope you're gonna enjoy this. Well, let's start with the first question, the simple one. If we have x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. Well, how do you solve this quadratic equation? Well, the first thing that you're going to do, you have to find the product, then find the sum, then find the factors. Well, in this case, starting with the product, basically how you find the product is you get the coefficient of the highest power, which is x to the power 2. The highest power of a quadratic equation is always to the power 2. That's how you know that this is a quadratic equation. If it goes beyond the power of 2, like it goes to x to the power 3, you know that that's a polynomial. You are dealing with a polynomial. Quadratic equation, we are dealing with the highest power of 2. Okay, so you're going to look at the coefficient of x to the power 2, in this case, which is 1 here. You have a 1 as a coefficient of x. Then you multiply the coefficient of x to the power 2 by the constant number, in this case, which is x, which is 6, 6. Because why? 6 doesn't have a variable, so we call it a constant number. Okay, so 1 times 6, that's going to give us 6. That means the product in this case is 6. And the sum basically is the number, is the coefficient of x, So the coefficient of x in this case is 5. We're going to have 5. Now, what are the factors? The factors, we're going to look at two numbers whereby if you multiply them, you're going to get 6, and if you add them, you're going to get 5. So what are those two numbers? Those two numbers is 2 and 3. Because if you multiply 2 times 3, you're going to get 6, and if you do 2 plus 3, you're going to get 5. Okay, the sum is basically the answer you get after adding, and the product is the answer you get after multiplying. So having done this, what you're going to do is you're going to substitute the coefficient of x with the factors that you have found. Then you factorize the equation. Then you go ahead and solve. So how are you going to go about this? What you do is you write this x squared. Oh, my x is very bad. I'm using my finger to write this. X squared plus, so what you're going to do, you put x outside, you open the bracket, you put the factors, which is 2 plus 3 in this case. Okay, then plus 6 equals 0. equals 0. Okay, so here it's going to be x squared plus, what is x times 2 is going to give you 2x. You basically open the brackets. X times 2 is going to give you 2x plus x times 3 is going to give you 3x plus 6 equals to 0. That's an equal sign. Let me just write this properly. Equals, well, what's going on? Equals to 0. Okay. So now you're going to factorize this. You're going to factorize this by saying what's common between x squared plus 2x is x. You open the bracket. So x into x squared, it's going to cancel 1x. You remain with 1x. You remain with x. Plus x into 2x is going to cancel x. You remain with 2. Okay, plus what's common between 3x and 6? It's 3. Okay, open bracket, 3 into 3x, you remain with x, plus 3 into 6 is 2, equals 0. Okay, equals 0. So basically now what you're going to do, what's common is x plus 2. So you're going to start with what's common with x plus 2. You're going to put this in brackets. Okay, you're going to put this in brackets. Then open bracket, what's not common, what's outside the brackets is x plus 3. X plus 3. This is going to equate 0. Equal to 0. Okay, so you're going to equate each one of these equal to 0 and solve. This is same, it's going to be x plus 2 is equal to 0, comma, the other one, x plus 3 equal to 0. Equal to 0. Okay? So solving this one is going to be x equals to, the number is going to cross and go to the fellow number. You group like terms together. Okay? So 2 is going to cross the equal sign and become negative 2. So the answer for the first x is going to be x equals to negative 2. The other one is going to be, comma, this one also, the x is going to cross and go on the other side of the equal sign. You're going to have x, so you're going to have x equal to negative 3. Basically, that's the solutions. You get x equals to negative 2 and x equals to negative 3. Okay, I hope you have learned something, but hold on a bit. What if a question comes like this? Okay, what if a question comes like this? Let's make it a little bit tougher. It was easy for us to find the factors here, but what if it comes like this? I want to help you a bit. I hope this is going to be a blessing to you. If you're grade 12, the first one that I solved is going to be good for you. You're in grade 10, this is good for you. The first question that we solved is going to be good for you. And if you're in maybe, I don't know, maybe college or something like this, something that I'm going to put here is going to be interesting to you. Okay, so if you have x squared plus, let's say, 6x plus 15 equals to 0. Okay, how are you going to solve this? Well, if you try to find the product here, we are able to see that it's 15 and the sum is 6. The two numbers whereby if you multiply them, you get 15, and when you add them, you get 6. What are those two numbers? You find that you cannot find those two numbers because the two numbers that can give us 15 actually, if we multiply, it's 3 and 5. 3 times 5 is going to be 15, but 3 plus 5 is going to give us 8. Even if you say negative 3, again, negative 3 times 5 is going to give you, negative 3 plus 5 is going to give you something else. If you put a negative, in fact, even the 15 is going to be negatives. That means you cannot find the factors. So that means you're going to solve this using the quadratic formula method, okay, or the completing square method. So whichever, you can either go the completing square method route, or you can use the formula method. But first, you want to determine whether this has a solution or it doesn't have a solution. How do you tell that? You're going to look at the discriminant of this, and you're going to be able to tell whether it has a solution or it doesn't have a solution. How do you do that? You try this. You know that the quadratic equation, first of all, is in the format, let's put it this way, is in the format y equals to a x plus b x plus c. Okay? This is basically the format of the quadratic equation. Okay? So now, you're going to try to see whether it has a solution by putting the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac. So you solve this roughly so that you see what you get. If the answer that you get is, it gives you a negative number, that means there is no solution to this. If it gives you a positive number, that means there is a solution to this. So let's try, before we even waste our time to trying to solve this, to see whether it has a solution or it doesn't have a solution. I'm going to try to solve this. B squared, what represents b in this case is 6. We can see that, okay, is 6. So we're going to say 6 squared minus 4 multiplied by, what is our a? Our a is the coefficient, which is 1, the coefficient of x squared, multiplied by 1 multiplied by c, which is 15, okay, which is 15. Let me just create more space. So I'm going to put my 6 here, squared, minus 4 multiplied by 1 multiplied by c, which is 15. Okay, 15. So 6 times 6 is going to give us 36. It's going to give us 36 minus 4 times 1 times 15. I think 4 times 15, this gives us 60. Yes, 60. So you find that if you do 36 minus 60 is going to give us negative 24. The fact that we have found a negative number, it means that there is no solution to this quadratic equation. If we had found a positive number, that was going to mean that we have a solution to this quadratic equation. But anyway, how, if you want, you can write there is no solution. But if you're at college level, they're going to require you maybe to just solve it in some way and prove that there is no solution. Okay, so let's try and do that and see how this is gonna go. Well, I'm gonna just raise this part. I'm gonna raise this part. And of course, this formula, you know what this means. So let me just show you. The a is the coefficient of x there. Okay, the b represents the a is the coefficient of x to the power 2. Then the b is the coefficient of x, just x to the power 1. And the c represents the constant, which doesn't have a variable, the number without a letter. Okay, without a variable. Okay, so now that we know this, let's just do this. We're going to focus on solving. We're going to focus on solving this now to prove that there is no solution actually. So we're going to use the formula method. So under the formula method, we're going to say x is equal to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, okay, minus 4ac over 2a. This is our formula over 2a. So in this case, we know that the discriminant, which we already found there, is going to be negative 24. So we put where is b. This is going to be x equals to negative b, which is negative b is what here? Minus, what is our b? Is 6 plus minus, okay, square root. This, which is inside 4ac, we already solved it and we found that it is negative 24. Negative 24, okay, over 2a. Our a is 1, basically, so this is going to be 2 multiplied by 1. Okay. Okay. So we gonna proceed. Yes, sir.
I think I'll say I'll just leave everything outside. I'll plan to sleep because I'm coming.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we're gonna proceed. Sorry for that. I was just attending to a friend. Okay. So this is gonna be x equals to so negative 6 plus minus. Then here now we're gonna break down this. We're gonna look at numbers that you can multiply the factors of negative 24, of which this, for it to be negative 24, we can say there is a 2 here, 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by, no, this is gonna be 4 multiplied by 6 gives us 24. The fact that it's a negative, these factors now are supposed to be multiplied by negative 1 for it to give us negative 24. Okay? Over 2. 2 times 1 is basically 2. Over 2. Okay? So now we proceed. How is this going to be? Basically, it's going to be x equals to negative 6 plus minus, this is my plus here. Okay, I'm going to do this. Let me try and be a little bit smart. Plus minus, okay. Let me just leave it like that. It looks like a cross. Plus minus. So basically the square root of 4 is 2, so you can remove this outside the brackets. Then the square root of 6 times negative 1, okay, over 2. All right, over 2. From here, basically, you are able to see that I'm going to erase the top part. If you don't mind, my board has finished. I have to subscribe to be able to make my board a little bit bigger. Okay, so now here, there is 6 times negative 1 in the square root. So what do you do to deal with this? Well, first, let me just try to squeeze it. We can say x is equal to 2 can basically divide everything now. 2 into this, you're going to have negative 3 plus minus 2 into this, you're going to have the square root now of 6. Then this negative 1, now you're going to deal with it as an imaginary number. You don't have the number because you cannot have a negative in the square root. So this is an imaginary number. So your answer is going to be just like this. So it's going to be x equals to negative 3 plus minus square root of 6 imaginary. Okay, the imaginary is outside the square root. So basically, this proves the fact that it's an imaginary number. This proves that it has no solution. I hope this has blessed you. Thank you.